Welcome to the F1 Rolling Podcast. I'm James.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And we are excited to talk all things Formula One because there's a lot going on right now.
I don't even know what's happening. It's just things are imploding.
It has been a week to remember for sure. Most people are saying this has been the craziest week in F1 in over a decade.
It's been earth-shattering, really. There's some of the monumental figures of the sport have one's leaving the team.
There's seismic shifts going on.
Absolutely seismic shifts. Yeah. It's unreal.
But before we jump into that, as always, do us a favor and go ahead and like and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. Make sure you sign up to win one of our incredible show mugs so that you can know all things that are going on with the F1 Rolling Start podcast. Absolutely. We love doing this, and we would love to know what your thoughts are as well. So go ahead and drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about our obviously extremely important opinions on all things Formula One.
Yes.
But this week was shattered when we all opened up our phones to find out that the Mercedes driver for the last 12 years is going to the team in red. There is a vegan, gluten-free driver joining the Italian team of Ferrari named Lewis Hamilton.
They're going to have to change their whole menu.
Yes. I don't know what they're going to do. I've been to Italy, and vegan didn't exist anywhere I went.
Yeah. No. I'm Italian. Yeah, that's not part of...
Let alone in Maranello.
No, absolutely. No, I first and foremost, I think like most people, I couldn't actually believe it.
No, I thought it was a lie. I thought it was a big joke. Yeah. I was literally waiting for
some deep fake, some AI thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought Instagram got hacked.
Yeah. Why not?
Because Lewis Hamilton's not going to Ferrari.
No, there's certain staples that just they're the truths that kind of undergird the world as we know it. And those things aren't going to change.
If they had said George is going to Ferrari in 2025, I'd be like, oh, cool.
Sure, George.
Sure, that makes sense.
That's fine.
But Lewis Hamilton, for the last forever, has been saying, I'm going to end my career with Mercedes.
Absolutely.
I am here to stay. I'm with the team. I'm aligned with them.
Yeah. No, I mean, and he's always been the one, regardless of where the team's been at, and they've had difficult years. He's always stuck with them. He said, we're going to do better. We're going to do better. We're going to come back. We're going to make this happen. Yes, we've got to go climb Everest, come back and climb it again to even get close to Red Bull, but we're going to do it. So I mean, it's still literally hard for me to even process that he's not going to be at Mercedes after the season.
The shock factor for me was, and I think for the world, was there immediately.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
The next question I ask is, if this is true, why?
Yeah.
Why does he go to Ferrari?
Well, he saw this next year's car.
Gosh, I wore my Mercedes hat in solidarity. Like
I was like, "Are you mourning?" Like
I'm not mourning. Because I'm a Mercedes fan, and But yeah, he sees the car, and then a day later goes, "I'm out, guys."
He was like, "I was hanging on to see the car." I was gonna wait to make my decision, my earth-shattering decision, to see if the car actually was where it was at, where it needed to be. And then he's like, "Yeah, no." I mean, who knows ultimately?
Yeah. What
the decision was. I mean, I think he talked a little bit about it. Like, he's dreamed of this. He's dreamed of racing for Ferrari.
Apparently, everyone dreams of
As
racing for Ferrari, which I get. I mean, they're the most prestigious and longest team in the entire sport.
Absolutely.
So I get it. For me, my thoughts were immediately to what Lewis wanted from Mercedes. He didn't get what he wanted. He got from Ferrari. The Ferrari head honcho has been after Lewis for years, and it's not a secret. Like, they talk regularly. He's offered him the world. Monaco, the rumor is that he literally said, whatever you want, you can come to Mercedes. And Lewis said, thank you for the offer. Ferrari. Thank you for the offer, but I'm going to stay where I am.
Yeah.
He then goes into contract negotiations. And I don't know if you remember, but like it took forever.
There were talks back then
Yes.
of him going to Ferrari.
Yes.
Because it was taking so long for Mercedes to lock him down.
Yeah. Well, and even if you go back, there were always, when he was with Mercedes in their prime, there were always talks of Ferrari contracts. But the difference then is that Mercedes had a car and Ferrari didn't.
Yeah.
Like Mercedes was winning and with Lewis.
Yeah.
And Ferrari was not where they needed to be.
No, Ferrari hasn't won in a million years.
Exactly. And so there was no reason for him to jump ship from a performance standpoint. Now, honestly, and this is hard for me to say as a Mercedes fan, Ferrari and Mercedes are pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
We're behind Red Bull and we don't know how to get in front of them. Mercedes has been there, and now Ferrari has entered into that realm.
Yeah.
And Lewis goes in, sees the car, and then he thinks, okay, I wanted a 3-year contract with Mercedes. They gave me a 2-year, a 1+1.
Yeah.
1 year with an option to re-up for the second.
Mm-hmm.
Goes in, sees the car. In my mind, he's like, yeah, this is not it.
Yeah.
And if this is not it for the 3rd year running, why am I sticking around for year 4, 5, or 6 towards the end of my career?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. And this is something that Alonso did last time.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted a multi-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't getting it where he was at.
Being.
And he was like, hey, Aston's got it on the table.
Yep.
They're going to give me multi. And this is what happened. As soon as Seb was like, okay, I'm done. Peacing out. I'm leaving Aston. Yeah. It was like, was it less than a week?
Yeah.
Or a couple of days?
Yeah.
Alonso was there because Stroll was like, hey, I'm going to give you what Alpine's not giving you, a multi-year contract. I'm going to recognize your stature in this league, and I'm going to award that stature with a contract that reflects it. And same thing with Hammy. The guy deserves a multi-year contract. He deserves whatever the heck he is asking of any team, Mercedes included. And so, if Mercedes is like, okay. Ferrari obviously wants you. They'll give you what you
Ferrari
want.
Gives it, and he goes.
Yeah. And essentially, again, Ferrari and Mercedes, it was a wash this year. They were level. Yeah, Mercedes with 3 points.
4 points?
No, 3 points ahead.
3 points.
It's a wash at that point. Literally, you're the same. And so he's looking again at the new car. He's looking at the trajectory. And what does he have to prove at Mercedes still?
Yeah.
Like, what is another world championship
he's already
done there?
beat the records with Mercedes.
Yeah.
So why not go on and win your 8th world championship title with a 3rd different team?
Yeah.
He's won with McLaren. He's won with Mercedes multiple times. And if he finishes his career by winning a world title with a 3rd team, I mean, that's crazy to me. I think what he's looking at is he's now entered into the zone where the guy's in his 40s and he's going, I got to start thinking about my legacy. Yes. What am I leaving behind in this sport?
Yeah.
His idol, Ayrton Senna, his dream was to drive for Ferrari, and he never got to drive for Ferrari. So now here's Hamilton getting to like step into the shoes of the dude that he has idolized.
Yeah.
The Brazilian driver of Ayrton Senna, which he is now an honorary citizen of Brazil.
Absolutely.
And I think he's going to go to Ferrari with the hopes of doing what Schumacher did. And say, Michael, not Mick. And
we all knew who you were talking about.
And going, okay, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to reshape this team.
Yeah.
I'm going to develop Leclerc into his full potential, and I'm going to win my 8th world title. If it works out, it's a risk, but what do you have to lose?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a couple things I'm thinking about when I think about this.
Red Bull's demise.
No, they're good for now. When you said winning a world championship with a 3rd team, I went to basketball. There's always the conversation about who's the greatest of all time, who's the GOAT in basketball. And there's a LeBron James, there's Michael Jordan. Everyone's like, Michael won, 6 years. LeBron's won with 3 teams, right? Michael's only won with the Bulls.
Right.
Mostly the same dynamic, the same kind of core team.
Yeah.
Pippen was always there, some of the other key players. But yeah,
Rodman.
LeBron. Yeah, Rodman. I mean, but with LeBron, he won with the Heat, he won with the Cavs, he's won with the Lakers. And so there is something different as far as a sports person when you think about your legacy. And I think for Hamilton, these guys who have been in it for as long as they've been in it, you have to you have to motivate yourself. You
100%.
have to push yourself. And at this point, I think he's saying, okay, what is going to get me out of the bed in the morning and excited again to race? Not that he wasn't excited. For God's sake, he's one of the greatest.
Greatest of all time.
I'll give him it.
For now.
And a new challenge gets you out 100%. Of the bed, gives you
fires
new vision,
you up.
Fires you up. You have the ability to go for 8.
Yeah.
To cement your legacy in red. Like, and they're going to give you as much money as you can possibly ask for.
Well, and I think that's it. I don't think it matters about money anymore.
No, I mean, he's got his non-alcoholic, agave.
Almave. Yeah, I in the sense of like, he's got enough money. He's too much money that he even knows what to do with.
Of course.
And so to me, I think it comes down to legacy and making a difference.
Yeah.
What he did started a domino effect. This year is nuts. We started out, and honestly, I was like, oh, this is so boring.
Yeah,
Norris
was a little...
signs a long-term deal. Great.
Yeah, he's so young.
Norris
is sure, a decade deal, that's fine. I'll sign it.
I mean, he's been with like McLaren. I feel like he's going to be with them for an eternity. So I'm like, whatever.
I mean, Williams dropped a new car. We were so excited about that.
That was today. Steak F1. I mean, all these things are happening, and I'm just like, whatever. And then Gunther gets fired, and you're like, wait, what? And then on the heels,
longest running team boss.
Third longest running team boss, gone. And then he like goes, and then I'm like, wow, this is crazy. What's happening? Oh, Lewis Hamilton is going to Ferrari. Okay, great. Well, Charles Leclerc just signed a long-term deal with Ferrari. Like, you're Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton comes, what do you do? Like, how do you feel?
Well, this is like the domino effect where there's just a million questions that just go off the chart as soon as Hammy makes this decision. Because again, what is the dynamic at Ferrari now? You've got Chuck.
Okay,
I
we have to address this.
Name.
Ben can't say Charles Leclerc. So we're gonna. I'm so sorry, Charles, but we're gonna call you Chuck from now. Chuck's coming down the inside in the red Ferrari.
I'm gonna call
You're
you
Italian.
Chuck.
You should be able to say this.
It's one of my many defects.
Chuck.
Not being able to pronounce Chuck's name. But anyway, this is the real question: is there's always a power dynamic within a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Carlos and with Chuck, they were level. Yes. Even though Ferrari is in love with Chuck. They'll
Chuck
give
is their
him
boy.
Anything. He's their guy. And
Chuck Leclerc,
Sainz,
that's their honey badger.
Sainz won last year in Singapore. He won the year before in Silverstone.
Yep.
He's actually been right at where Charles has been as far as points go. He's had the only other win outside of Red Bull last year. And people within Ferrari and within F1 just love to hate Sainz.
So true.
And they love to love Charles. And so my question is, okay, Ferrari has two guys who are essentially neck and neck as far as points, as far as capacity, as far as their pace. And now you bring in Hamilton.
Yeah.
How does that change the dynamic at Ferrari?
Yeah. To me,
who's number one? Who's number two?
There was no question that Shaw was number one the entire time.
Of course.
We had heartthrob hottie Sainz coming in. He'd take his shirt off to get a couple extra signatures. But at the same time, everyone knew that it was Charles. The team denied it, but it was across the entire grid. Everyone knew. And to be honest, from a consistency standpoint, Carlos couldn't hold a candle to Chuck.
Well, here's the thing with Chuck. Chuck can do one lap real fast. He has struggled, though, during races. He has struggled, and obviously his performance is a different dynamics.
Totally.
But as far as like consistency, Sainz was laying it down for most of the season. Like he was right there with him, if not actually outperforming at different points. And so I think that's the bit of it that's a little tough is that.
Yeah, but at the end of the season, where was Charles and where was Carlos?
No, I know the last race isn't necessarily a microcosm.
No, but even points wise,
Charles was 206. Sainz was 200. They're 6 points apart.
Mm-hmm.
So they're right there.
Pretty much even.
Yeah, they're right there. So my assumption, Hammy goes, he's obviously number 1.
8 world titles.
Yeah.
Versus 8 race wins doesn't
Obviously,
really have a battle.
What I think, though, that this is going to do is that this is going to very clearly establish the dynamic of that team. Mm-hmm. Hamilton is coming in as the senior driver as far as maturity, as 100%. Far as veteran status. Yep. And his relationship is going to be, I'm going to be a mentor to Chuck. I'm going to be a mentor to Charles. Yes. I'm going to help him get over the hump that he can't seem to get over because he doesn't actually have someone who's at that status. Now, Charles was teammates with Seb.
Yeah.
But this was when Seb, like, he was winning races, but he still was past his championship prime. So, which raises another question. If Hamilton's past his championship prime, I don't know.
I don't know either. I think what's interesting to me is I think Hamilton's very strategic. You had mentioned before, like, he's playing chess.
Yeah. The guy knows what
everyone else is playing checkers and he's playing chess. My thought is he's established himself in a team as the most experienced person from an F1 perspective. Think about even his team boss won his first Formula One race when Carlos won at Singapore. Yeah. That was Freddie Vasseur's first F1 race.
First, period.
Lewis Hamilton has over 100 podiums for himself in first place. He has 8 world championships.
Yeah, that's
like, he's come into the team and he's got clout and he's got influence beyond comprehension. He could be setting himself up, for all I know, to become a team principal in 5 or 6 years to run his own team.
Absolutely.
To me, Lewis Hamilton has made this decision from a strategic legacy perspective, like I said.
Yeah.
My question, I think Chuck knows where he's going to land. The unfortunate thing is that this yet again usurps Carlos from his seat. He's completely ejected. Now he's into 2025, not coming back to Ferrari. Yeah. This happened at Renault. This happened at McLaren.
Yep.
And now it's happened at Ferrari. Like, how unfortunate of a, talking about legacies.
Yeah.
I'm the dude that nobody truly wants.
Well, this is the crazy thing, because yes, that is glass half empty. Glass half full is the guy still has a seat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like F1 can't get rid of this guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Because at the end of the day, like, the guy can win.
Yeah.
The guy can go race. The guy's passionate. The guy's like fiery. Like, he's not a Lance Stroll, right? Like, Lance Stroll, we couldn't get rid of him if we wanted to. But this guy,
apparently Logan Sargent is the cockroach that never dies either. So
both these guys are like, what are we doing? But that's the thing about Sainz is, like, this is the third team that he's getting the boot from. But where does he go?
Who
picks this guy up? And
there's so many seats available. He'll land somewhere.
Is there a universe in which Williams finally wakes out of this insane? I'm just throwing this out there. A team like Williams, why the heck wouldn't they say, this guy's on the market? Clearly our dude is awful. We're playing with one hand tied behind our back. We should at least give a go at this guy. If not, Williams asked him.
Do you think Carlos would go to Williams?
If it's that, or sit and watch TV, people want to stay in the race.
There's so many other seats that are available.
Danny, where did Danny go to stay in?
This is true.
Right? People make choices they never thought they'd make just to stay in the sport.
Yeah, but Danny purposefully didn't go to Williams or Haas.
The team he picked wasn't a whole lot better. I'm just saying.
A whole lot more strategic.
There's strategy. There's strategy. I'm just saying.
Greatest F1 season in history.
Where does Sainz go? Since your team is they're like a distant cousin, third removed on my mom's side, like
with a limp.
Yeah, So where does Sainz go? Who picks him up? Who keeps him in F1?
I think Sainz will land somewhere.
Of course.
I don't know where he will land. I severely dislike the idea of him going to Mercedes.
I don't think that's
I think it's highly unlikely.
Where it's
I don't think it's going to be a swap.
The go, and you're going to give us the guy who won one race.
Exactly. Like, it's not gonna happen. I do think there's a world in which Alonso could go to Mercedes. And I think if you were to give Carlos Sainz the choice between Aston Martin or Williams, I think he'll take Aston Martin. Aston Martin has the funding already. Williams is still getting it. They got more this year. They have new sponsors, which is great. But Lance Stroll was like, I mean, I'll be the only sponsor you need. And has been.
Yeah.
The guy's opening up factories left and right, new buildings here, investment up the wazoo. I think Sainz would go, let me go there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's kind of the only option for him.
It's the only option that I'd want to do.
Yeah. I mean, Red Bull, who knows what's happening with Red Bull as far as Checo goes.
Well, and think about the other seats that are open. You've got Guan Yu Zhou at stake. Valtteri at stake. Like, he's not going to go there. I mean, actually, he might. Maybe to drive for... they're not that bad. Okay, they're bad.
They're bad.
He might to maybe he thinks the Audi.
Alpine's got both the Frenchmen. I don't anticipate them going anywhere. Alpine's
and he's not going to go back to Alpine. No. He was dropped by Renault. I don't know what happens to Carlos. Carlos will land somewhere because I think I agree with what you're saying. I think he does want to be in Formula One, of course, and I think he'll do whatever he needs to stay in it. And he's too young to retire, and he does have race pace for sure.
Yeah,
and he's got chops.
Yeah. So Sainz, we're trying to figure out where he lands. The question is, who takes the second Mercedes seat?
I mean, I said it already. I think it's going to be Alonso. I think Alonso would.
Or do they go back into because they've been rebuilding for the last couple of years, but when it comes to their drivers,
you're so generous. They've been flailing for the last 3 years. 2 years.
So whenever a team in football is just in a really bad place, we're rebuilding.
Yeah.
It just means, you're terrible.
Mercedes is the Brown season. That was perfect. 0 to 16.
They are. But the question is, if Alonso doesn't go to Mercedes, do they bring up someone new?
No.
Do they try to get a new talent?
I don't think Toto's going to go that.
Because Toto signed an extension.
Toto's in.
I mean, Toto's owner,
Toto's doing this because it's fun for him. This is what he said.
I'm sure.
To be a billionaire. And he's doing this because it's fun. They've got George. I think number one, first and foremost, this saved Georgie Poo's butt.
Yeah, you were saying that
I think Georgie Poo was on a seasonal run of slightly above mediocre, not world championships.
He had 2 podiums last year. That was it. Both third places.
Exactly.
Hamilton had double that, 7, 8 podiums.
Yeah. Would have had more if he didn't get disqualified because of his plate.
He would have had 8.
So I think this saves Georgie Poo because they like George, and he will be consistent for them in raking in the points. I also think George did take an upturn towards last season that at least gave him the first half of the 2024 season to really show that he's settled in and can do some solid performance. But it does leave the other seat open in 2025. And looking at the grid and who's available, Max is locked up. He's not leaving Red Bull.
No.
Norris is now locked up.
Yeah.
He's not leaving
McLaren.
Piastri's locked up.
McLaren's not going to let go of him with everything they can.
No. I'm like, they're not going to bring Checo in because Checo couldn't beat Max, and they need someone that can beat Max.
Yes.
And so who are they going to bring in?
Alonso's
the only person that I know that can make sense is Alonso.
Yeah. And again, I feel like you're looking for someone who has been there and has done that.
Exactly.
Alonso's been there. He's done that. And he is he's boomeranging back towards a win. He hasn't won
100%.
yet.
He's been
but he's
so
boomeranging
close.
back with Aston. And so he's been really, really close to it. And so I think for him, the appeal is, hey, if Mercedes can get their stuff together, I could win with Mercedes again. I could actually win, potentially go for a championship. I mean,
it would be
unreal if that actually happened. But yeah, I don't see someone else.
If we were to enter into the 2025 season and it was Alonso beats Hamilton in a Ferrari for the world championship, it would be absolutely unreal. But to answer your question, there's only one choice in my mind, and it's Alonso. Whether Alonso does it or not, I'm not entirely sure. He is loving Aston Martin.
Yeah.
And Aston Martin has given him everything that he's wanted and a car that can deliver.
Yeah.
And so depending on how their season goes this year, I don't know if he'd want to leave.
Yeah, I mean, they're making the right decisions. It's just, this is what happened the year Seb left. It just started crazy town.
Exactly.
And this is, I think, where we're going with Hammy leaving Mercedes. It's just crazy town. Because then it's just going to be domino effect of drivers moving, drivers shifting. I mean, I think the question too is, does Mercedes feel the pressure to announce someone before 2024 season starts, or do they just bide their time, see who performs well, kind of wait?
This whole period in F1 is called silly season.
Yeah.
Which is when you have the contracts that expire and then the upcoming year and you have empty seats. And silly season is when everyone starts flipping contracts all over the place. The driver starts going all over here, there, or the they either get their contract canceled or they go sign with somebody else or they re-up. And traditionally it happens in the summer.
Yeah.
It's January. But we already have announcements. It's flipping the 5th of February when we're recording this. And the entirety of the grid has had a stick of dynamite thrown at it.
Before the new season starts.
We're talking about 2025 and 2024 season testing hasn't even started.
It's unreal.
We have cars liveries being revealed on the same day that people are announcing that 12-year-long relationships with constructors that have brought them 7 world titles are ending. I'm like, unreal. What is happening here?
It's unreal, the high and the low and the things that are we
even going to pay attention to the 2024 season is my question.
I mean, it depends on how good the season is. If it's Max dominating again, no, we'll just look forward to the next season where all the changes happen. But I don't know. I mean, this has been an insane week. An insane week.
Even if you back it up 2 weeks, it's been crazy.
There's been so many shifts.
Yeah.
Again, just the staples of the sport that you felt were going to go to their grave in their team uniform.
Literally exploding.
It's unreal.
It's been it's prolific is the only word that I feel like I can say about it.
Yeah.
I've been on some of the Italian websites.
Very reliable, I hear.
Not very reliable. They've got a 50-50 chance of being right and
just
being
they flip
wrong.
A coin.
Yeah. It's more like looking at a crystal ball than reading news. But some of their rumors were confirmed today, which is not a good sign for you.
No, it's not.
And another reason why I wore my Mercedes
and the reason today, I did not wear my Red Bull hat.
Yeah. Is that our
as of today,
possibly adequately named nickname and beloved horn dog is under a little bit of fire, Benjamin.
We were gonna have shirts inside a horn dog on the front.
I wanted it to be like a hot dog with like his head as the end of it, but now that's not going to work out for us because there are allegations of quote unquote inappropriate behavior.
What does that even mean?
No, it's very ambiguous. And look, we don't know, to be completely transparent, we don't know what has happened.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of rumors about what it is or what it isn't. Officially from sources that are reliable, the only thing we can say is that it's quote unquote inappropriate behavior.
Yeah.
Red Bull parent company has brought a third party investigator in to investigate Christian Horner for allegations that have been brought up against him. Christian Horner irrevocably denies.
Yeah, just straight up.
Straight up.
It's not like no comment. It's not like, we'll wait for the investigation. It's just this.
None of this is accurate.
Yeah.
None of this is true.
Which is a big deal if it did.
If it becomes true, it is a big deal that he said it's not.
Yeah. So my thing is, that this did not happen. He's not. There's other things he could have said. He could have just not said anything.
Yeah.
But him coming out and saying, no, this didn't happen. at all.
Oddly enough, when I think about a team principal that would lie, I don't actually think of Christian Horner.
No.
And so I lean towards
the guy's
believing
brutal.
him at the moment.
He's
brutally honest. And so
with everyone and 100%.
We are all human. So, but I also stand by the firm understanding that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And so we're in a place now where, unfortunately for Williams and Stake F1 Sauber, they launched their car liveries amongst the Tifosi and everyone just going crazy about Lewis Hamilton and then Christian Horner allegedly doing inappropriate things has dropped, and Red Bull, there's an investigation. I guess my question is like, let's say worst case scenario.
Imagine if you're the PR guy at Williams right
now.
My
gosh. You're like, I did my best. I did my best. You already gave me Logan Sargent to work with, and now I'm trying to do this? Oh, my gosh. No. Poor Williams. Your car looks great. Congratulations on your new sponsors. I love James Vowles. We're team James Vowles here. Huzzah. But my thought is this. Let's say worst case scenario, Christian Horner apparently has been encouraged to step down from his position as team principal. I'm like, Christian Horner to Red Bull F1 is what Red Bull is to Red Bull F1.
Yeah, he's the longest running team principal in F1.
You can't. He started it.
Yeah, he founded the
team.
He took
Jaguar, which was garbage, and years later had Sebastian Vettel win 4 world championships in a row.
Unreal.
Fast forward to he takes a flipping 17-year-old pimple-faced kid, puts him in a 200-mile-an-hour car. Everyone calls him crazy. And then this last year, that 17-year-old set the greatest F1 record ever in the history.
All of them. He just broke all of them.
This is Christian Horner. He revolutionized marketing within F1. He brought the quote-unquote bad boy edge to what it is. Maybe a little too bad boy. That I just saying. It's Christian Horner, dude. Like,
it's the yin and the yang of F1.
Yes.
It's like him and Toto are just the light and the dark, the black and the white, the right and the wrong. I mean, he is the balance in F1.
Yes.
Right? Like, without him, the equilibrium itself of the sport, I think just
gets boring.
Goes ajar. It does, because again, there's something about Christian, and we mentioned this just a few minutes ago. He's brutally honest. I don't know of too many other folks in F1 who are brutally honest.
They're all brutal, strategic, and political.
They're all strategic and political. Horner's the one who's brutal.
Yeah.
Horner's the one who says, listen, if you want to be in this sport, it is based on your merit.
Yep.
It is based on how you perform on the track. That's Horner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what he brings to the sport. And so when we think of F1 as being brutal, it's brutal because he's brutal.
Yes.
It's brutal because he's made it that way. And he says, no, if you're going to race at this level, you want to win, come beat us. We're not going to take a day off. We're not going to, let off the gas. And so
the prime example of that is Ferrari about a month ago said Sainz is our guy. We love Sainz. We're behind him. We're so excited for the future with Sainz. Sainz no longer has a seat. We're behind Lewis. We love him.
Yeah.
Christian Horner goes, Checo's in the seat for 2024. Red Bull's behind Checo. It's up to Checo if he wants to keep the seat.
Yeah.
He's just brutally honest.
Yeah. No, and again, like,
he's transparent.
There's something that is incredibly refreshing about that. And I think
100%.
We talk about this probably some other point in the season, but the thing about F1 that is so attractive as a sport is that the stopwatch doesn't lie. Mm-mm. There's something really honest about F1 because it truly and yes, the stewards can muck things up every once in a while, or they can get involved and say, Checo, we're going to call you in because you said something we didn't like.
You said a naughty word.
But like at the end of the day, it's okay. Who finishes first, and we're going to tell by a thousandth of a second.
Yeah,
exactly. And the stopwatch doesn't lie. So that's the thing that Horner is to this sport. And so I'm low key terrified of where Red Bull is going to be if he has to step down.
I mean, on a personal note, I'm like, dude, I don't want this to be true. The guy's married and he's got
kids,
he's got a family,
this is his entire life.
And if it isn't true, what an awful few weeks it's going to be for their whole family. There's no way you escape any of this.
No,
and it's an unfortunate reality of life for those people.
I mean,
those people, the rich and the famous.
It's their life, though. It's still their life. I mean, and
still their life. He has a pretty big, nice house.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the tension. I think that you have to navigate in these moments when allegations do come out.
Yeah,
because on the one hand, whoever brings an allegation against someone who's one of the most powerful men in F1, like
arguably the most at this point in time,
really, truly, after this kind of season, like that takes an immense amount of courage if it's done honestly, and if this actually did happen.
Yeah,
for someone to step out and say, no, this happened. I don't care his position or his power. This is what actually happened. And again, on the flip side of it, if it is just an allegation, then you have someone who really is synonymous with the sport have to redeem his name and fight for his name. And so it's a lose-lose, honestly.
It's lose-lose for him, 100%.
It really is.
If it's true, it's awful and it's a lose. If it's untrue, it's awful and it's a lose.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I really hope it ends up being an unfortunate accusation and we can move past it, because I really do think he's an incredible leader.
Yeah.
But
what
he's
he's done
price,
with the team is
it's incredible.
Yeah.
At the same rate, I'm also a firm believer that every action has a consequence. And so if he has done something inappropriate, then he deserves the full weight of the repercussions of that, no matter how good his performance is. And that makes Benjamin's skin itch.
I'm so scared.
Not because he doesn't agree with me.
No, I agree with you.
But it's because he agrees with me.
I absolutely agree with you.
And that would be a big blow.
But imagine a universe in which Mercedes is without Hamilton and Red Bull is without Horner.
Then Ferrari will be taking home the World Championship. Okay, so let's shift gears for a second.
Please.
Because we haven't talked about another team principal.
Who haven't we talked about?
What was that moment when Hamilton goes over to Toto's house in Oxford and has a cup of coffee and says, "Hey, it's been a great decade.
Oh my God.
I'm out." Like,
Toto.
What is Toto going through right now? Toto's looking at, hey, I just re-upped again.
Yeah.
I'm essentially the greatest team principal, or one of the greatest.
Yeah, one of the greatest
in history.
Yeah.
And I have the record to prove it. My ace just left.
Yeah.
My B driver is good, but not a world champion.
No. Not yet.
What am I to do?
Yeah.
Look who's available.
Yeah.
He's looking like we are and going, can I do it with Alonso? What if Alonso says no? What options do I have?
Yeah.
Like, what's going through Toto's mind now? Because he wants to win again.
No, of course he does. That's why he re-upped for, I think, another 3 years.
5
years team principal? Sweet Jesus, I know it's long. I think, honestly, and he's been very public about it in the past, Hamilton's a friend.
Yep.
Hamilton's a colleague. Hamilton's a partner.
Yep.
So I think for him, like, there's just the regular human emotion of saying goodbye to a friend.
Yep.
I mean, psych, he's still gonna have to work with him this year, and obviously you have to, like, be on the team this next year. But
man, it's so awkward.
Yeah, that is a difficult piece of it, where he has to work with someone that he's respected, that I'm sure he's just grown to love as a friend, and still work with this guy, try to bring the team back from one of their worst seasons they've had.
Yeah.
And try to figure out who is going to lead us. Is George the guy that's going to lead Mercedes? Or do I have to bring in someone else who's actually going to lead us? Because Hamilton undoubtedly has been the leader of that team. And so through thick, through thin, through the ups and the down, been Hamilton. And so I can't
I'm
imagine
just realizing
that
as you're talking, I can't stick around if George leads the team. This hat's going in the fire. I mean,
he's such a good
mental break, man. I've been Mercedes for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that it's Hamilton, but I can't be a Ferrari fan. I don't know what to do.
Why can't you be a Ferrari fan? You can't join the Tifosi?
I don't think I can be part of the Tifosi. I don't know. There's something about it.
You like Italian drinks. And
I love it. I love Italy. I would move to Italy in a second. But it's not the worst.
It's Hamilton.
I do love Hamilton. But I don't know. If I make the jump, it won't be I don't think it'll be a Ferrari. It'll be a McLaren. But
yeah, no, I mean, Toto, he has a tall order in front of him.
Yep.
He has to convince someone to come join.
Mm-hmm.
And also he has to kind of stop the bleeding at this point.
Yes.
This is as big a blow as you can take.
Yes.
Not just as a team, but
he's in damage control.
It absolutely is damage control because you didn't lose Lance Stroll or Logan Sargent. You lost the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT saw you
literally the GOAT.
Said, "We're done."
Comes in on a Monday, quits on a Wednesday.
And he could have waited. He could have went this season and then said at the end, "Okay, we're done now." And he said, "No, I see the car. I'm out. I'm done." That is a blow.
The
to
entire
the
thing is a PR nightmare.
Oh, absolutely.
It's an absolute PR nightmare. I think Toto's he's got to shift into the business, shrewd, team owner, gangster that we know he can be.
Yeah, because he's not just a team principal; he's the owner. Exactly. He is one of the owners. Exactly. This is his legacy.
I think.
Right? Yeah. Nuts. He's a third owner,
and so he's got to go, man. Every moment from here on out is pivotal.
Yes.
If they have a repeat of the last 2 years during Bahrain's practice sessions, it's going to further solidify the narrative that everyone's writing about Mercedes now. Which is this, to me, as a Mercedes fan, this is so hard to say.
You can say it. It's okay.
Thank you so much. Is the narrative at the moment, will it ever happen again? Question mark.
Yes. It's a big question mark.
And that question mark has 2 years of mediocre, subpar performance already behind it.
Yep.
1 year, you can say we messed up the regulations. Second year, you can say, man, we really thought we were going to adjust it. Third year, you're coming in with a completely new car. And if the performance isn't there, it's no longer about the regulations and it's about you.
Yes.
Because teams like Aston Martin, McLaren, AlphaTauri towards the last part of the last season have somehow figured out how to make these regulations work for them. Yeah. You are one of the greatest teams ever in the history of F1 and you can't get your feet together.
Yep. Yeah. At some point, it stops being about external factors and it starts being about what's happening inside the house.
Yes.
And so, for example,
very good.
Ferrari, the last time they won was in 2008. They've been chasing. There's been years when they've been competitive.
That's when I graduated high school.
Yeah. That's when I went to college. 2008.
Oh, you're old.
Same thing. Graduated high school, go to college.
I know, but I'm
the same age.
I'm much younger.
So much younger. But here's the thing: is it going to take Mercedes that long to boomerang back to actually saying we're here to win?
Lord,
because this is the knife's edge. They talked about last year the car being on a knife's edge. As a team, they are on a knife's edge right now.
Yes, exactly.
As
100%.
a team, that's 100%. Where they're at. And so they have to figure out how to get back to stable ground.
Man.
And I don't know what that looks like for them.
I don't know what that looks like for them. Because the last 2 years, they've been skating on thin ice. Mm-hmm. And this year, if they don't pull something out of the hat, they're going to fall straight through that ice and they're going to start sinking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I heard it said once that how people perceive you in sports is so important to the power dynamic. This was actually in the Michael Jordan documentary series. He was talking about how the Bulls, when they were perceived as being the champions, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Because the other teams would come against the champions.
Right.
And mentally they were broken. They lost already.
Yeah.
But there was a season where the Bulls lost. And they lost that edge.
Wow.
Because other teams weren't coming to face the champion. They were coming to face a team that was broken. And so Mercedes has, for the last several years, even when Red Bull has shifted and has won, they've maintained that confidence where it's like, hey, you got to come beat us. Like we got Hamilton.
We're the best. We know we're the best. And
they risk losing that this year.
Yes.
Like last season, their car was bad. We get it. But now Hamilton's out the door. You have got to perform this year.
And this goes beyond just the love of F1.
Yeah.
The love of the drivers, the love of the teams.
All the things.
This becomes a money thing.
Yeah.
Because they've lost the 8-time world champion. They've got George Russell.
Which, as good looking as you say he is, I'm like, how much money is George bringing in?
No. George is not a cash cow.
No.
George is in his, I've got to start winning so I can make money in this sport.
Yes.
And you couple that with a car that's not winning, that's not at the front of the grid, that's not part of the story, and then no longer has a driver. Even over the last 2 years, the very fact that Hamilton has been there has kept them in the limelight.
Of course.
It has kept them at the forefront of what every reporter is talking about, because everyone knows Lewis Hamilton. He is the most known F1 driver.
He's iconic.
And now he's at the most known F1 team starting 2025. Yeah. And so when 2025 rolls around, if they don't have a competitive car, that's all they have going for them. That's all they have going for them in 2025.
God, that's terrifying.
And if they don't have that, then you better believe the sponsors are going to start dropping off, which now means that Mercedes is putting their own money into it. Toto's putting his own money into the team. Yeah. And now we start down the path that we've talked about several times, is if in F1, if you don't stay at the top, the steep slope,
it's not hard to slide.
Of falling off,
it's not hard to slide.
You start sliding real quick.
Then you become Gene Haas, where it's just it's all of his own money, and he's just a bitter old guy who's just like, stop wasting my money.
Yeah, and you're taking risks on like Russian oligarchies, and
you're trying everything.
Yes, but I don't know what Toto's going to do.
No,
I mean, he's looking at a grid that's a lot of them are out of contract. None of them are Lewis Hamilton. You're looking at a reserve driver that can't get a Haas around the track without splitting it in half.
Yeah, you think they're going to let him actually drive a Mercedes?
No. And so what do you do? Well, I'd be stressed if I was Toto.
I would. Here's the one thing I'll say, though. Mercedes has a couple things going for it. Namely, one, its name. It is a global brand, right? It is a global brand. It's known quantity. Like, there are Mercedes fans the world over. And so when you put a global brand like Mercedes with a iconic driver like Hammy, obviously that's the winning package right there. And you're winning, and you're the GOAT, right? So obviously Ferrari's a global brand, and now Icon has went to another global brand. They just need someone else who's been there. And you mentioned this before, like Alonso's their guy. People are speculating wildly if Seb comes back.
He's not
going to come back.
He's not going to come back.
He's not
and Toto doesn't want him. Seb was,
you can say,
in my opinion, he was a pain, because it was like he was, and he's super empowered to do this. And I think it's very honorable that he quit for environmental purposes, because he actually put like action to what he was
brutally
complaining
honest
about.
This is what he believes, and he's like, I'm done.
He thought it was carbon footprint was too big, all that kind of stuff. But he also kind of like didn't really look like he cared much towards the end of it.
Yeah,
and so like, you know, and the dude's been out of F1 for a minute now. He's got kids. You know, you like to eat pasta. There's all this kind of stuff. He's probably got a little bit of gut going on. You know, I don't think he's in tip-top shape for F1.
No.
He's got name. He's got clout. But you take Alonso after.
Yeah. No, Alonso's still in it. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a tough seat to sit in right now if you're Toto. And I think he's got a tough several months ahead of him. He's got to perform. He has to lead a team through an incredibly tumultuous time.
Yeah.
So We love the drama, and this year literally has just we haven't even started.
We haven't even started. We haven't even gotten to the practice sessions, and it's already so exciting. And we didn't even get to talk about the fact that Stake revealed their livery today, and so did Williams.
Hamilton, Ferrari, Horner.
There's a lot going on.
Steak is not on my mind right now.
No, steak's not on my. Well, I would love to eat a steak.
Yeah,
but steak F1 Sauber is not on my mind. Friends,
never.
Thank you for joining us this week.
As
it
always.
has been an absolute blast talking through all the things that are going on in the world of F1 right now. And I have a feeling this is just the beginning.
I think so too.
We are going to be in store for an absolutely incredible season. Don't forget to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to if you've made it this far in the podcast.
Sure.
Don't know how you would have tuned out. We're so absolutely incredibly entertaining.
We are.
Anyway, I'm James.
I'm Ben.
Thanks for joining us on the F1 Rolling Star podcast.
See you, folks.